The gang were on the route to Fuchsia and had made camp for the day. It had taken a while, but Ash managed to get information out of Green. There was going to be a tournament held in Fuchsia. The prize was said to be a rare Pokemon. That had everyone in the group motivated. Ash was a bit surprised even Brock was getting into the spirit of things. So during their break, all of them had split off for their own purposes. Ash decided his time was best used to work with Ninetales. His team was already awesome, and with Psyduck's new evolution, they had this in the bag. But Ninetales was the weak link. That's how he and his team found themselves in what Ash calls the sharing circle. So, Ninetales has been here for a minute, but they haven't done proper introductions. Ninetales huffed, but Ash told her that part of working together meant getting to know the team. It would help her beat Alakazam. Ninetales narrowed her eyes, but relented. Good, Ash nodded. It was nice to know that reminding her of her goal was a good way to get her to comply. This is Pikachu, my first Pokemon. Pikachu only gives a head nod to Ninetales, who looks at him flatly. Ash can already tell this will go swimmingly. Golduck, Keycott, and Cerulean. He's got crazy mind powers. Golduck was at least polite enough to hold out a hand. Ninetales eyed it and Golduck over. There was a tense second before Ninetales extended a paw and shook hands. Alright, this was going better than Ash expected. Cubone stepped forward and puffed up her chest. She barked something at Ninetales before Ash could introduce her. But to his surprise, Ninetales let out a bark of laughter herself. Cubone get a tick mark, but Golduck pulled her back before she could start something she definitely couldn't finish. Ninetales looked amused at the prideful ground type. Cubone wasn't happy, but Ash hadn't seen a positive reaction like that on Ninetales unless she was eating, so he'll call it a win. Lastly was Tangela. He's a goofy guy, but he gets along with anything. And Ash meant anything. The atmosphere shifted dramatically. To Ash's shock, Tangela got a dark look on his face. Ninetales snarled back at him. It's only thanks to Pikachu and Golduck putting themselves in between the duo that prevented a fight from starting. Okay, Ash pulls Tangela to the side. What's that about? Tangela gurgled something angrily, stamping his foot in irritation. That's when Ash remembered. Unlike everyone else, Tangela had been there being hunted down by Ninetales with Ash. He didn't think it had affected the little guy before, but now Ash was seeing how it had given him a bit of a chip on his shoulder. Ninetales being a fire type didn't help either. Ash knows they didn't get off on the right foot, but he thinks they can be the best of friends if they just tried. Personally, Ash didn't know if he was trying to tell Tangela or himself that. Tangela kept his glare but stomped back over to Ninetales. His vines extended in what Ash thought was going to be a handshake. Only instead of that, they bound together and formed a middle finger. Oh no. Over with Jiselle, she had been surprised when Green had pulled her away when everyone else had split. She didn't know the girl well, but had enjoyed spending time with her to learning about all of Ash's embarrassing secrets. It was odd for her to single Jiselle out instead of going with Ash. So what's up, Jiselle inquired. Green had left out a little part of the tournament. You're gonna need 2 Pokemon if you want to fight. Giselle froze up. 2 Pokemon? Green nodded eagerly. That's why she was here. She wants to help her catch a Pokemon. Giselle can't help but ask why. Because it's fun, Green exclaimed. What? To search for a potential party member. A permanent friend for life? Green loved it. She spent so much time scouring over to find her perfect Pokemon. She didn't accept the first Mankey or Krabby that came her way. She delved into the depths of nature and found one that wanted to be the best. Just like her. Giselle was a bit blown back by that. She didn't know it was that deep when it came to catching Pokemon. She thought you saw one you liked and attempted to capture it. Green blew a raspberry. Yeah, if you're boring and normal. All great trainers find Pokemon that fit them to a T. Look at Red. Ash. Giselle mentally went over his team. They were an uncoordinated mess of oddballs. Other than Beedrill, she can't understand how any of them really fit Ash's personality. Green waved her off. They were perfect together. Red might not seem like it, but he was a bit of an oddball back in Pallet. It's why he gets along so well with Green and Blue. He's found little weirdos that are just like him. And it's paid off. Can you imagine if he had some average Psyduck when that Gyarados attacked him? She'd be down one friend. Giselle mulled over her words. She could see the truth in them. Ash was a weird trainer. He didn't even train, but managed to pull off victories. She wasn't sure how much of that was him or his team, but he got results. I guess they worked well together. So how does all this help Giselle get a Pokemon? Green told her to come on. They're going to scour this forest to find a Pokemon that fits her vibe. Brock looked down at the smiling Togepi in his arms. He apologized for how loud it got here. He's not one for violence, but he wanted to up his skills. This tournament sounded interesting. Plus, it was good enough to show her how battling was for when she was grown enough to fight. Around Brock were countless unconscious Pokemon. Geodude and Onix guarded him, both scuffed up and tired, but ready for the next threat. Good training, guys, Brock smiled. Let's break for lunch, then it's back to it. They have to get stronger after all. He's got plans. Geodude and Onix grinned, both eager for the coming training. Back with the girls, Giselle found Green's method to be questionable. She wasn't sure if the girl was part Mankey or not with the way she scaled the trees searching for Pokemon. Maybe Paltown kids were some freaky Pokemon mutant hybrids. That would explain Ash. She bet he was part Slowpoke. Giselle jumped as Green appeared in front of her. Found something! Giselle wouldn't ever get used to this girl. Green led her carefully through the brush. They halted behind some bushes where Green gestured her to look. Peering over the bushes, Giselle was surprised. Sitting together enjoying some berries were a Nidorino and a Nidorina. Giselle's brow furrowed. Which one is she talking about? Green shrugged. Either or. She thinks either of them would work great with Jiselle. They go well with her whole... Green paused and waved at her. Thing. Giselle's eye twitched. Hello? You still in there? Green waved her hand in Giselle's face, snapping her back to reality. What? Yeah, shut up, Jiselle huffed. Back to the point, there were 2 Pokemon here. Was Green gonna help her battle? Nah, Green thinks she's got it. Go get him! She slapped Jiselle in the back hard enough to cause her to stumble. The Nidos stopped their meal in surprise at the new intruder. Nidorino's spines bristled and extended as he growled at her. Nidorino eyed her carefully, but Jiselle could see she was also prepared to fight. Oh great. Sandshrew appears looking ready. Jiselle stutters out saying she challenged them to a fight. If she wins, she gets to capture one of them. Nidorino's eyes widened and he leapt forward with a horn attack. Sandshrew quickly moved in front of Jiselle and repelled it. He fired a swift attack. Only to Giselle's surprise, Nidorino leapt in front of Nidorino and a pink barrier appeared. That was Reflect! They shifted again with ease and Nidorino landed a double kick into Sandshrew. She quickly ordered a dig, vanishing Sandshrew into the earth. Rather than wait, Nidorino looked to Jiselle. Fear struck as it leapt at her. Sandshrew was quick to emerge and take the attack for her, sending him back. This was a wild Pokemon battle. There weren't rules or other trainers. She fought for a victory, but they were fighting for survival. Pokemon? Trainer? It didn't matter to them. Only that they made it out. Giselle's mind raced as she watched Sandshrew try and land blows against the duo. They were a machine, flawlessly switching between attack and defense. Nidorino was a shield, protecting against any blow, while Nidorino was a powerful lance, striking with precise hits. Her confidence was shaking. She couldn't win this. That's when Nidorino surprised her and Sandshrew. From its mouth, it fired a water gun straight into Sandshrew. Rather than to dodge, Sandshrew locked up in panic. It struck him hard. He trembled as he was soaked to the bone, puddles on the ground around him. Giselle yelled at him to move as Nidorino took its place forward. He couldn't move, though. From Nidorino, a thunderbolt fired from it, shocking Sandshrew, eating through his natural immunity from the water coating him. Sandshrew sagged on his absolute limits. Giselle couldn't let this happen. Not because she wanted to catch a Pokemon, but because her dearest friend was hurt and scared. They couldn't both be paralyzed by fear. Her gaze steeled. She yelled to Sandshrew that she believed in him. He wasn't alone. They had each other, and that meant they didn't lose to anyone. Sandshrew looked back at her. Her determination melted his anxiety. He was still scared, but Giselle could see his willpower in his eyes. He stood tall against the Nidos before letting out a cry. Energy filled him as his body was engulfed in light. Giselle watched in awe as he grew bigger. Large, sharp quills emerged from his body and his claws lengthened into weapons. A Sandslash stood where her first partner once was. With his evolution, Giselle's confidence soared. She looked at the duo. She couldn't attack Nidorino without Nidorino defending him? Then she just attacked both. She yelled to Sandslash, "Use Earthquake!" Sandslash sprung into the air. He gave him a spiky ball midair and slammed into the earth. Shockwaves rippled through the clearing. The earth cracked and shattered, sending both Nidos flying. The sudden rupture did massive damage to both. Giselle didn't let up. Both were hit with Sandshrew's newly grown claws, knocking them down. Giselle pulled a Pokeball from her pocket. She threw it forward, hitting Nidorina and sucking her inside. It shook violently before going still. A successful capture. Giselle cheered. She caught her first Pokemon! Sandslash joined her in her celebration. She was about to leave when she saw Nidorino weakly stand up with a glare of despair. Suddenly her cheeriness soured. The Nidos seemed really close to each other. She felt bad about taking his partner from him. She wouldn't just give up her first catch though. That's when an idea struck her. It was crazy, but it might work. Giselle looked down at Nidorino. She won, fair and square. That seemed to pain Nidorino's pride. She's not going to give up her catch, and he clearly doesn't want to lose Nidorina. How about he comes with her? That seemed to shock Nidorino. Giselle thinks they're a really good team. Sandslash was tough, so for them to have to get him to evolve to win said a lot about their strength together. Giselle wouldn't mind bringing him along so the duo can continue fighting together. Nidorino looked like he almost didn't know what to say. Giselle watched the debate in his mind before he relented, bowing his head into acceptance. With a smile that could light up the night sky, Giselle threw a Pokeball at Nidorino, sucking him inside. It didn't resist, clicking shut instantly. Clapping came from behind her. Green emerged from the canopy. Great job! She knew she could do it. Giselle frowned before slugging Green in the shoulder. Ow! What was that for? Green cried, rubbing her arm. I totally did not have that. If Sandshrew didn't evolve, we would have been goners. Did she know how dangerous that was? As Giselle continued to rant, Green's eyes glazed over. She had way too much experience zoning out when she was getting yelled at. Blue loved to lecture her when she did what he considered stupid, dangerous, and irresponsible actions. People just didn't know how to have fun. Everyone reconvened later that night in varying states. Brock, Giselle, and Green observed a very singed Ash. Brock assumes Ash's bonding with Ninetales was going well. Get bent, Ash deadpans, getting everyone to laugh. Apparently, Tangela and Ninetales hate each other's guts. That was not on his list of problems he'd have. How'd everyone else's day go? Brock feels like he made some excellent progress. What about the girls? Giselle perked up with pride. With a flourish, Sandslash, Nidorino, and Nidorina appeared. She caught two amazing new team members. Ash gawked at the Pokemon. She got 2 Pokemon and Sandshrew evolved? Of course she did. She's Jiselle. She's the best. Meet Kingy and Queenie. You name them? Brock inquired. Jiselle nodded. Their names were close enough she felt appropriate. And you decided on Kingy and Queenie, Ash deadpanned. Giselle took in a simple breath and smiled. Green laughed as Giselle attempted to strangle Ash. Red sure had made some good friends.